Hi guys. So I just wanted to go over some things that I learned in my first year of business last year, and just kind of talk to you guys about some things that that I think might be beneficial for you. So, I mean, there's a million things I could cover, but I remember last year, and it was tricky for me to get started with the business. I was working at a tire shop, and things weren't going well. I wasn't earning much money. Prior to that, I had had a couple of other jobs that I was earning decent money at, but by the time I got done with those two jobs, or the last job, there was just so much drama with other coworkers and stuff. I just had to get out of there. I couldn't take it anymore. So I'm just not cut out to work as an employee to someone else. I like to just do my own thing and have my own flexibility and be able to make my own calls. And I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with that. Like if you're working for somebody else, that's totally fine. But for me, it just didn't work. So, and I had been dreaming about starting my own business for years. So I was contemplating what business to start. I didn't know if I should start I really wanted to get into like a vehicle wholesaling business where I buy cars, like a car dealer. I wanted like a used car dealership because I enjoy working with cars and stuff like that. So, but there's a really high barrier to entry to that. So I decided, I was looking around and I said, well, what do I have at my disposal that I can use to get started? So I said, okay, well, I've got a truck, I've got a mower, and I've got, a trailer. So why don't I just fix up my mower and get the trailer going? And that's exactly what I did. So last spring and winter, I spent the whole spring and winter trying to rebuild my old zero turn. So I got this thing for free, or almost for free. I think I paid like $250 for it. And I'll do a video on the mower and the setup and stuff like that soon. But I just wanted to give you guys some tips on when you're first starting out, kind of your mindset and where you need to be and what you need to be thinking about, things that helped me get started. I'm not I don't know everything, but I learned a lot from my first year, so I want to share these tips with you. The first tip would be, and there's no script for this video, these are all just off the top of my head, but the first thing that I learned was figure out a general pricing of what you want to charge. So if you're going to go to a client's house and do 8 hours of labor, have in the back of your mind, already know what you're going to charge roughly. So for me, when I first started out, this actually caught me off guard. I picked up the phone. My first client that called me was a guy. It was a general manager of a trailer park home, and he called me. My phone just rang out of the blue, and I was terrified. It wasn't my first time answering phones doing customer service, but it was my first time answering the phone for myself, and I was like, oh crap, I actually have a call coming in. What do I do? So first tip, and this is something I learned from Brian Fullerton's podcast, is answer the phone and be polite and be friendly and try to sound like excited. Don't answer the phone with your name and say hello. Answer the phone with your business name, Top Notch Property Service LLC. This is Daniel. How may I help you? Like something like that. You don't want to be basic when you're answering the phone. Just say hello. You don't want to sound like some guy that's working. You don't want to sound like it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you don't care about life. You want to sound enthusiastic and you're willing to help the customer. So the first tip that I would say is answer the phone professionally. It goes a long way for your customer. I know if I was to call another business looking for something, I wouldn't want somebody to pick up the phone and just say, hey, what's up? Be professional. So that's the first thing. Second thing is know a little bit about your pricing. You don't have to, when you're first starting out, you're not going to have a clue what to charge, but you can kind of get a rough estimate of what to charge. You can kind of in your back of your mind, well, I want to earn $50 an hour to cut grass. I want to earn $60 an hour, maybe 75. Whatever it is that you charge, just have that price in the back of your mind when you're first starting out, because what happened with me is I had this gentleman call me who was the mobile home park manager. And he said, hey, I saw your Facebook page, your business page, and I just wanted to know how much would you charge for a day's labor. And it completely caught me off guard. Again, this is my first call, so I'm like, well, probably between, and I just threw a number out there. I said probably between about $300 and $400 a day, which actually was pretty close to where I needed to be starting out. But I'll tell you, it freaked me out because I did not know how to answer that question, and I didn't want to sound stupid because obviously I should be able to at least give a range or a rough idea. So luckily I was able to pull a number out of a hat. I was a little bit lower than where I need to be. Now I charge about, it depends, it really depends, but maybe $500 a day. And if I'm trying to do like a big job that I know is going to be challenging and I want to factor in taxes, I might charge $650 because I have to take 30% out for taxes. That's a whole nother episode, whole nother podcast. But just for me, not podcast, whole nother episode. But for me, that works well. So I shoot for about $500 roughly. I do about $75 an hour in my business is what I try to charge for, and it really doesn't. Nothing is set in stone. Some days I go out and I take a job. I'm happy doing a job for less. Like it depends on what I'm doing. But those are some tips. Have a rough idea of what you're going to charge, and then just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Also, in regards to like equipment, I started out with, like I said, an old used mower. It was a really tough transition for me, and it's still an ongoing challenge. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that everybody starts from a different position. I started with being in personal debt. I had like $6K of personal debt because I had been living off credit cards because I quit my job. I did everything backwards. I did everything you're not supposed to do. I pissed off my girlfriend. I quit my job. She's been helping me with the bills, and it's been an absolute mess. And I'm finally getting to the point where I can start to contribute back again. And what I'm trying to do is just build up to where I was before. I used to earn like maybe roughly $30K a year in my regular 9-to-5 job. So I'm trying to build my business back up to where I used to be and get to that point. But it's been a really good learning experience, and I've had an absolute blast in this business. And I just want to encourage other people that if you do want to start a business, like, you don't have to wait until you have a bunch of money. You don't have to have perfect equipment. You can get started by just going to Home Depot and picking up a shovel and a rake and a tarp and maybe a wheelbarrow or something, and just getting started. Like, you can go and do some cleanups. You can go do some landscaping. One benefit that I had in my situation is that my truck was paid off, so that helped, and it's really reliable. So I've had good luck with my truck, my Toyota Tundra. Again, I'm going to do videos on this, but I'm just trying to build my channel here and get some information out there to you guys. I want to help you guys. So if you're interested in starting a lawn care, landscaping business, pressure washing business, any kind of small business like that, some of these tips that I'm offering might help you guys just from real world experience. Now, another tip I wanted to say, something that I learned was, I would get a phone call from a customer, and I started my business late in the season, so I started maybe July, like end of June into July. And so I missed the whole spring rush. Didn't know anything about the spring rush. I'm new to lawn care, landscaping business in general. I've done the work before. I've done plenty of mowing. I've done plenty of weed whacking. I've done I've even ran a chainsaw. So that's why I do all those things now in my business. But when I first started, I was overwhelmed by like how to build systems in your business to actually manage these things and how to take care of properties. Now I can go up to a property, no problem at all, and I can bid on it, and I can hopefully get the job, and I can take care of the property. I know I have all the basic tools now. When I first started, I didn't even have a leaf blower. I was just working out of the back of my truck with the mower that I have. I was keeping my fingers crossed that it would run. First job I went out on, like I said, was a commercial job. I think I got hired for $350 for the entire day. It was an hour and a half away, so I drove an hour and a half to get this job. Worked my butt off for 8 hours straight. I was so happy. I'll tell you what, when I left my job, I had so much drama with my coworkers, and I just remember driving to this job site with my arm out the window, cruising down the highway in my truck, going to this job site, thinking, man, I might as well be rich right now. I might as well be a millionaire. That's why I felt like $1 million. I had the freedom in my life, and finally, no one was breathing down. No one was breathing over me. No one was talking down to me. Customer was happy. I was happy. I was going to work. I had a lot of anxiety. I remember driving to work, and my truck fell apart. My fender or something flew off my truck, or something was happening, and I was running late, and I was going 100 miles an hour down the highway. Not literally, but I was flying down the highway trying to get to work on time, trying to get to this trailer park, and I had to pull over and fix my truck real quick. And just crazy things that happen when you're out there trying to get started. And I just remember showing up on site and then taking my mower off the trailer, and it started to backfire. It started spitting and sputtering, and it was running like crap. And I was like, oh God, if this thing breaks down on the first day. I mean, it's always been reliable, the mower, the engine, but I started having issues. It turns out it just needed to be like the carb cleaned or something, and I got through the day, but it was stressful. So, but I remember how happy I was. I keep looking down. I'm just picking at my car. I can't sit still, so sorry about that. But anyway, so where was I going with this? There was something I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I got another phone call because I started late in the season last year. I got a phone call. Someone said, hey, can you come mow my overgrown property? It's kind of a hayfield. They didn't say that. They said, hey, can you come mow my property? It's a little bit tall. I said, sure, no problem. I'll be over. I'll get you an estimate. And one thing that I learned from I think his name is Jonathan from Florida Turf Pros. That guy's amazing. His channel's awesome. I love his channel. I learned so much from that guy. If you're watching this video, if you're ever watching a video of mine, just thank you so much for everything you've done. It's the same with Brian's Lawn Maintenance, Keith Kalfas. All you guys are amazing. I've learned so much from you guys' channel. I definitely recommend going and checking their stuff out because they have some really good information. That's where I learned like 99% of everything to get started with my business. So anyway, when I was going to the job site to quote on this job, I didn't realize that you should factor in, there's two things you should factor in when you're pricing your lawn care, in my opinion. Just for guys that are brand new, going out to do their first job, they have no idea what to charge. Just keep in mind, I know a lot of guys are saying square footage, and that's all important too. That's great. Obviously, you want to charge according to the size of the property. You know, for me, my minimum is $50 per property. I won't show up on a property if it's going to be less than $50. I charge $50 no matter what. I won't do it. Even if it's a postage stamp property, which a little tiny property, I'm not doing it. I'm just not touching it for less than $50. No, the trailer's not dropping for less than $50. This just helps with I don't know. It just seems to. There's a whole bunch of reasons why it's beneficial to set a minimum for your business. Again, we can talk about that later. But so anyway, when I went to this house to bid on this job, one thing I would do, and I got into some arguments with my girlfriend. She was trying to help me with pricing and stuff like that, and she had some really good points. She helped me out. But I would go to a customer's house, and I would say, yeah, I can mow that property for $85. Let's just say it's an acre. Yeah, I can mow that property I'll do it for $85. That includes edging, everything, whatever. And I would go and do this job, and my girlfriend would be like, how are you not done yet? You've been there for 3.5 hours, and it's only an $85. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I mean, there's tons of debris. It looked fine. It looked like it was just going to be a piece of cake, and it looked like it was going to be nothing. But when I got here, nobody's done the edging in 3 years, and there's, it's a hayfield. The grass is freaking, this tall, 4 feet tall. And so one thing I learned is, if you're going to do a property for the first time, I would recommend, I would recommend bidding it higher than you usually would as part of a cleanup. Okay, and that's perfectly ethical. There's nothing wrong here. You're not taking advantage of someone. You're pricing accordingly based off the fact that it's going to take extra time to get the property maintenance ready. So there's two kinds of properties, is my point here. Regular properties, and to 99% of the people watching this video, you're going to be like, dude, that's normal. Like that's basic information. We already know this. Well, no, I'm talking about somebody that's just brand new and has never thought of this. I got thrown out in the field and just started going, and I was not thinking to myself, oh, I need to charge for edging extra, or maybe I need a couple extra hours worth of work. And if you're trying to aim for $75 an hour, nothing is more discouraging than when you spend 3.5 to 4 hours and you just feel like you haven't charged accordingly. You got to know your worth. You got to know that it's worth it to charge that amount. So anyway, and you might lose a couple customers. They might say, well, I don't want to pay $250 for my first service, or I don't want to pay $150, and that's fine. You can say, okay, well, in order for me to be able to do the cleanup properly and get it up to my standards, my company standards, I would have to charge a little bit of I always say a little bit of a cleanup fee. That's how I word it. I say I just need to charge a little bit of a cleanup fee. The range for the property would be roughly $150 to $250, whatever it is that you want to do. I usually give them a range. So the range will